we move from DeSantis to Trump himself, and more specifically his Truth Social activity. Donald Trump posts these video statements talking about different things, often ranting about different subjects. This is kind of, I guess, his primary form of campaigning, because most of the time he's just golfing. And this one on Truth Social that we'll watch is titled, "Sometimes You Have to Put Them in Their Place." And it's him lashing out at the lower poll number candidates in the GOP primary field right now. And I guess answering the question that he feels he's getting asked of, why are you attacking people who have really low poll numbers? Ignore them. And he's saying this is why, in traditional bonkers, deranged Trump fashion.
Say don't punch down when talking about people like Chris Sununu or Sloppy Chris Christie or Ada Hutchinson. I call him Ada, not Asa, because of certain reasons, or others. But sometimes it's necessary to talk badly about those that for no reason other than politics speak badly about you. Otherwise, the people that love you don't know whether or not they're for real. Are they saying the truth? They're not. So sometimes you have to punch down and you have to say what's happening. Otherwise, they won't understand. It's not fair to them. You have to put them in proper perspective, these bad people. You have to put them in their place. People like this are very destructive, and you have to tell the voters what it's all about. Otherwise, why should they be able to understand it? Thank you very much.
So what he really means, because I agree that you have to tell voters why you're better than other candidates, but what he really means in punching down is he has to scream that someone like Chris Christie is really dishonest and is sloppy. Chris Christie, such a strange. Let me get this.
People forget that.
Oh, apologies, guys. Get this next video queued up for you. He has to say all of that because, as he said, otherwise people might think that Chris Christie's statements about Trump might be for real. And this is Trump's whole playbook. Anyone who says something slightly negative has to become an enemy. Because then in the minds of his followers, it's really easy to think, okay, I don't have to listen to the very accurate criticisms coming from Chris Christie because he's an enemy. He's in the enemy category. He's sloppy Chris Christie. Such a strange nickname. Or Ada Hutchinson or whoever. And that's why he has to do that, because often they're saying when these Republicans finally turn on Trump, they'll say things that do need to be heard by Trump's followers. Rare things being said by people, at least rare things to hear within the GOP about Trump that are accurate. His threat to so many things, our democratic institutions being such a prominent example. And finally, someone in the primary field like Chris Christie is calling that out, and others. And then this was on Ron DeSantis specifically.
That Ron DeSanctimonious was a big lockdown man.
Here, let me start this from the beginning.
People forget that Ron DeSanctimonious was a big lockdown man early on as governor. He locked it down, and other governors that were Republican of nature did not lock down. If you look at South Carolina and Tennessee and South Dakota and others, they didn't lock down, but Florida was locked down. He locked it down.
Okay, we'll stop that one there. It's interesting. We talked about yesterday the very concerning characteristic of this primary that's getting developed, where DeSantis and Trump are going to try to argue over who was the most irresponsible in their handling of COVID, who rejected the science the most, who was against taking precaution. And did we take incorrect ones here and there? And did tons of politicians make bad decisions and hypocritical decisions and all of that? Yes. But does that mean we should have gone radically in the direction that maybe DeSantis wishes the country had gone? No. And now, because DeSantis' attack line against Trump is he was too pro-Fauci and he was pro-lockdown, Trump has to turn around and go, no, DeSantis was, and they have to argue about who took the science the least seriously, which is a really strange thing to be developing. Quickly, just to wrap up our discussion about this primary, the indictment Interestingly, the second indictment, the federal one, is having an effect on the Republican primary, not in a huge way, but at least in some way that is negative. So this is from CNN. Former President Donald Trump's support appears to have softened following his indictment and arrest on federal charges, according to a new CNN poll conducted by SSRS. And we'll look at first the whole country and then the GOP specifically. Most Americans approve of Trump's indictment stemming from his alleged mishandling of classified documents after leaving office, even as 71% say politics played a role in that charging decision. Though Trump continues to lead the GOP field by a wide margin in the race for the Republican Party's nomination for president, the poll suggests that his support has declined, as have positive views of him among Republican and Republican-leaning voters. Nearly a quarter now say they would not consider backing his candidacy under any circumstances. The survey also finds that those GOP-aligned voters not currently backing his 2024 bid have different views on his indictment and behavior than those in his corner. That's pretty obvious. And then here's the notable part. Overall, 47% of Republicans and Republican-leaning registered voters say Trump is their first choice in the party's nomination for president, down 53% in a May CNN poll. In addition to decline in support for Trump's candidacy, his favorability rating among Republican-aligned voters has dipped from 77% in May to 67% now. So you're seeing shifts in the GOP, and that could be in part one of the most notable things that has changed over the last few months is Trump's legal troubles. And so maybe the idea of having even possibly a convicted felon as your candidate isn't so appealing to some Republicans, even though many of them, as I very much witnessed at his arrest and arraignment outside the Miami federal courthouse a couple weeks ago, many of them still are very much on board. One lady said, I would vote for him even if he's in jail. I don't care. But some are shifting, and that's good to see.
One of our sponsors today is Wild Health, founded by two emergency room physicians. What Wild Health does is take your genetics and biometrics and lifestyle data and give you tailored suggestions to your particular situation as far as nutrition, exercise, sleep, and more. The idea being to help you function at your best in a way that's actually tailored to you. You might have a specific health goal. You want to sleep better or lose weight or stay healthy, feel good, be more active. Wild Health will tailor a care plan with lifestyle interventions instead of pills, which I always prefer as an approach. Wild Health pairs you with a care team. It includes a board-certified precision medicine physician who you can message anytime through the app. And their newly launched premium program actually goes further, offering concierge medicine with over 15 specialized testing options. You can look at epigenetics, a coronary CT scan, and many other things. The results are compelling. Many patients have seen improvements to diabetic markers or reducing risk of cardiovascular disease and more. Wild Health has 10 new spots in their premium program. For my audience, go to wildhealth.com/premium to apply for membership. The link is, of course, down below.